The majesty of the world's alpine ranges and the unique creatures of those high countries have gripped the adventurous since the very first reports of them began filtering back to civilization. Grand mountain ranges epitomize freedom and fortitude, which, then and now, is the living spirit of the mountain hunter. Certainly the truest vision of the world's unspoiled apex is the male wild sheep. The wild ram embodies the pomp, the regal dignity, and the splendor of the high country like no other animal. He is the intriguing monarch of the mountaintops, a superstar among a hunting culture that celebrates his existence and longs to hunt him even though he is always another 4-hour climb away. As Theodore Roosevelt once wrote, he is wary. Great skill and caution must be shown in approaching him, and no one but a good climber with a steady head, sound lungs, and trained muscles can successfully hunt him in his own rugged fastness. Whether it's sheep or sheep country, somewhere along the way, our fascination and appreciation for both has led us to conservation and stewardship. This is the itch we cannot scratch. The simple truth in today's world is, hunters put and keep sheep on the mountain. Without the monies and the aggressive observation-based input, the love of sheep by sheep hunters, the presently steady course of the wild sheep's existence on Earth will unquestionably be compromised. It is for all these reasons and more that the Mountain Hunter Hall of Fame exists. As the highest honor the Wild Sheep Foundation bestows, being an accomplished mountain hunter is only an entry-level check mark on a long list of eligibility criteria. Hall of Fame inductees are therefore more than just sheep hunters. They personify the highest standards of a land, wildlife, and hunting ethic. They are a shining example to their peers within and outside the hunting community. And they have given back in time, passion, leadership, and resources to wild sheep, conservation, and the mission of the Wild Sheep Foundation itself. The lure of sheep country has claimed many souls. One such soul was Jack O'Connor, whose writing prose about the grand sheep hunt drew man to mountain like a magnet. He once wrote, "The sheep hunter is willing to climb until his lungs are bursting, to walk until his legs are dead and weary, to grow hungry and thirsty for great rewards. There is no halfway." The rewards of our Ironman sport are many, but none is greater than induction into the Mountain Hunter Hall of Fame. Recognition and awards are what we give to individuals. Ensuring that our wild sheep receive the necessary management and protection befitting of mountain royalty is why we give. Welcome to the Mountain Hunter Hall of Fame induction ceremony.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. What a pleasure it is to be in a room full of the greatest hunters in the world. Give yourselves a big round of applause. I mean, this is a gang full of some killing machines out here. Speaking of great hunters, you know, there's people out there in this world that like a challenge. And then there's a few people that crave a challenge, They thrive on performing at levels that leave other people in their wake. This year's inductee into the Hall of Fame is one of those few people. This is a man, as an example, who is so driven to succeed that just because he was born with a body shape that would more resemble a football linebacker or lineman than, let's say, a dancer, he still decided that he wanted to be a mountain hunter. And his most favorite thing to do in the whole world, with his pants on, is to climb mountains after the sheeps and goat that live everywhere. When I think of the punishment this gentleman's knees have taken, hauling this football lineman's body up and down the mountains, the worst part being the down part, it actually makes me wonder if perhaps he hasn't invented some drug that he hasn't told the rest of us about, maybe some kind of Viagra for the knees or something like that. We all know that being an avid mountain hunter means that he has to have a screw loose and certainly has to be infected with that sheep fever we all are cursed with. But even this hasn't held him back from everything that he's done and accomplished as a mountain hunter. He's done it the right way. He knows what it takes to climb the mountains, every inch of them. And he's been from one end of the world to the other, chasing wild sheep and goats the right way. For all of us that know him and have had the pleasure of spending nights in camps with him, you know that he knows how to have a good time also. I, for one, am extremely proud to say that I've left many brain cells behind after spending time in camps with our recipient this year. Never one to not tell you exactly how he feels. He's a guy who you always know where you stand around him. And that's something that I think we all appreciate about an individual, is truth and honesty. Seriously though, this man stands as one of the greatest mountain hunters ever and will be spoken of in awe around campfires for as long as God's creatures are going to be available for us to hunt. He's a great conservationist, spends untold amount of time involved in all kinds of organizations, both with his time and his money. He's a tough guy, and he's a man that I am very, very proud to call my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Mountain Hunting Hall of Fame, Mr. Larry Higgins. Your turn.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Alan, I want to thank you for all those kind words. I am trying to stand up. I would like to thank the Wild Sheep Foundation and the selection committee for this great honor. I am very humbled to be standing here as this year's recipient. You know, for me, this all started about 25 years ago. I got this wild idea. Boy, you know, those sheep, they sound kind of interesting. So I called this friend of mine in Butte, Montana, and next thing I knew, I was on my way to my first sheep hunt. And he said, well, you know, Higgs, just remember one thing. You're probably going to get hooked. Well, he was right. I've enjoyed every bit of it. It's been a hell of an experience. And I know my wife really appreciates what this guy from Butte, Montana did and the difference it made in our bank balance over the years. But, you know, some of the people that should really be recognized tonight, and many of them are in this room, are the many guides and outfitters that have put up with me over the years. And when you think of icons in the sport, and you listen to what these guides and the outfitters provide to folks like us, they're the true icons. And I just want to thank each and every person that has helped me for many, many years. Special thanks go out to my bride of many years, because she's had to put up with me being gone quite a lot on these forays. And, you know, for those of you that have heard me talk elsewhere, I stand by the fact that the nicest people I've ever met in the world, I've met hunting. And I have to tell you, the sheep hunters go right to the top of the list. I sit here in awe every year at the generosity that I see and the unbelievable values that are produced year after year on these auctions. I can tell you, those of us in SCI are green with envy of what you guys do. But you do a hell of a job, and I just want to thank all of you for all the friendships over these many, many years. And again, this is the greatest honor I've ever received, and I'm just glad that I met a certain individual back in 2001 and have had a chance to share many hunting camps with the bewildered Italian that most of you know, because I've learned a lot from him, and we've had some of the greatest experiences I think anybody could ever want. Thank you again for this great honor. I appreciate you being here. God bless, and let's keep putting and keep game on the mountains, all right? Thank you.